This is AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling. And once again, I'm joined by Aubrey Edwards, referee of the decade.
The decade? Jesus. Tony.
Well, I just thought I'd change it up here a little bit. How you doing?
I'm not paying you that much. I'm doing okay.
Hey, let it be known you're paying me nothing.
That's true. That's true. You're just saying that because
You're paying me in friendships, and that's what does it, right?
Speaking of friendship, how about this for a segue? And speaking of awesome people, we have the one and only Big Swole with us today. I'm
there you go.
Very, very excited. Yeah, what's up? Double bye. So Big Swole, amazing addition to our women's roster. Phoenix of Rise champion, Shine Tag Team champion, FSCW champion as Storm, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. And just a general all-around like quality human being, a fantastic locker room leader, great fitness inspiration.
yeah, when it's not bulk season. Yeah.
Yeah. So, welcome to the podcast. Very happy to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I've been wanting to be here for a minute now.
Yeah.
But you let a player on.
So I know you weren't a part of the women's division initially, and you came on a little bit later. I think it was was it a dark match or a dynamite match with Emmy?
It was a dynamite match, and that
right.
was in January after I signed my contract. But my first appearance was an all out for the Battle Royale.
That's right.
Great.
That's right. Oh my God, that day was wild. So
it really was busy.
I want to talk a little bit about what's going on today in society. I know, we have had our group chats and our group meetings, the entire group, and you spoke so well about what is going on. And, talk about, and I really dig this about our company, because I think we're all pulling the same direction. We all love each other, but talk about what you think that we all can do to make a change in society today. I know it's kind of a loaded question or a deep question, but
hi, welcome to the podcast. Let's talk about deep shit.
Boom.
You actually wanted to start about that, and then we get into your career and everything.
All right. Well, yeah, I know, right? Or first, the deep stuff. Well, honestly, just listening, being open and asking. Actually, this past weekend at a little party we had, Danny came up to me and just wanted to know. He just asked the questions, and I was glad to answer them. And I'm just glad that he was able to listen, actively listen, and have comprehension, and not just have his own entire oh, this is what I think, because that's how usually people in the world are. They're like, oh, this is I'm set in my ways. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Most people just in one ear and out the other, but they're not actively listening to the struggles and to what black people are saying, what people of color have been saying, Right. So listening is key. It's very important right now.
Yeah, I never did believe in those old cliches. Leopard can't change his spots. Can't teach old dog new tricks. I don't believe in all that. I believe we all can learn and all can be educated. And just to add to that, I think just be nice to each other.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just there's so much negativity and arguments going on, and anyway, so much for the deep stuff. Glad to have you with us, and you are certainly a part of what is one of the more entertaining things that's going on, has been going on this year, and of course, this podcast is evergreen, and it may have been over by then, it may just be starting, but you and Britt Baker have been just a delight.
Your best friend.
Right. News scoop.
Yeah.
He doesn't even like you.
She doesn't. You don't. You can tell me. You can tell me, because I don't know anyone who likes Brittany. I don't know anybody. I don't even know if my Lord and Savior likes her. I asked, and I didn't even get an answer yet. So I mean, he's probably trying to think of something. He can't lie. So it's
I can tell you, the woman that I live with, she don't like her. She says, man, she was a mean girl in school. She was one of the girls that picked on people in school, and you could tell it by looking at her. I go,
right.
Okay.
I know a bully when I see one, Tony.
Exactly. But it's been entertaining. I mean, you've had some fun with this, haven't you?
Oh yeah, it's been the best. Just being able to be myself I absolutely love it. That's what I wished and hoped for. The storyline where I can just be me.
Right. And that's what you've been. You've been yourself. And that's why people are gravitating to you. And that's why you're so much fun to talk to in the back, because you are yourself. I mean, what we see is what we get. And that is so cool. So I appreciate that about you. I really do.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Look, you're going to be my best friend now.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to take you, since you're on a timeout anyway, you might as well not go back. Why, when they treat you so badly?
I know.
Like, she can't even get Rebel's name right.
I know. Just mean girls don't care. Think of themselves only, right?
They don't.
Right.
They don't. Peeking behind the curtain a little bit, this whole storyline between you and Britt, how did that come about? Was that an idea you guys pitched? Was that, like, what's the story behind it?
Really, when they were deciding on, I guess, who to pick, who with who, they asked me, like, oh, what do you think about having a storyline on this person? And Britt really stuck out to me because, we've known each other from the indies and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I think a storyline with Britt would be great. So Cody was like, this is what I'm pitching. This is what I have. And once I read it, I was like, this is amazing. I want to do this. I want to continue to keep doing this. They were like, oh, we're going to, turn a heel. And I was like, yes, finally. Look. Right. So somebody I can work with. Like, I don't want to get beat up by Nyla.
Exactly.
Love her to death, but Jesus, let's not get just beat up by Nyla.
Like, I'm not, Yeah,
like, some of your lines have been tremendous, and like when they were brushing you with the palms, right?
Oh.
I'm not Jesus or something like that. Yeah. I'm just wow.
It's like whatever comes to my mind, I'm like, just say that. Like, and it'll change every single taping too. I can't say the same thing twice.
Like, but that's honestly the best part, right? Is it's like we're not seeing like Ariel Johnson portray Swole. We're seeing literally who you are on TV, and I think that's part of the reason why this storyline, I guess is what you could call it, works just so well, because Britt's being Britt and you're being Swole. And the two of you are just playing off of each other. Like, I think there was the other day we were doing we were taping a segment. Ooh, spoilers. And I think the two ways you guys did it, like, were completely different from each other.
Yeah, they were.
And it was just like a natural thing that's just how it happens. That's how the cards lay. And
really, like, in all honesty, it was just, it's whatever. Like, okay, I'm going to say this. All right, well, I don't want to say this. I'm like, okay, cool. Whatever. My goal is to pop her and like make her just break one day. It's going to happen.
Yes, it is. It is going to happen on live TV. You grew up in Florida, and talk about growing up in Florida and your experience with pro wrestling back then. And
when I say I had the best childhood in Clearwater, it's like its own little world. Everybody like always like, oh, I can't wait to leave home. I can't wait to leave home. And when I did, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back now, because Clearwater is literally like paradise.
Right.
Like, everybody who's in wrestling lived there. Like, and we lived in Bel Air, which like was right around the corner from Hulk Hogan. Like, everybody in the block knew him as Terry,
right.
And like, imagine being 6-7 years old and you can see like Randy Savage. Like, I did a kickflip and he thought it was the most amazing thing ever in the whole world, and he was like, oh, can you teach me how to do that? And I'm like, because I need you on TV, bro. Like, like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Or seeing like Luna, like, God rest her soul, like in the middle of Walmart. Like, it was simply amazing. Like, it was great going to the beach, like having little parties, like surfing, like having all friends. It was really amazing.
Right. And we understand that you had some interactions with Linda Hogan. She gave you some advice.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She said never marry a wrestler and never get in the business. And I didn't listen at all on both accounts. At all. Like, my godmom, Jill, she was like, Linda's mad at you, right? I was like, but I didn't do anything. And she's like, you can lie to everybody else, but you're not going to lie to me. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm dating him. But I mean, I haven't married him. And, I'm like, I'm not really in the business. I'm a couple matches. Just a couple matches. I'm just getting my feet wet. And then next thing you know, I'm married. And
fast forward.
Right.
And in the business.
and deep in the business.
Deep in it.
deep.
How's this? How you like being with AEW?
Oh, I love it. I brag about it all the time. It is. I'm like, I was just going through like, I love my job. Like, and people can talk crap. Like, oh no, I love my job. I love being on AEW Dark. I love learning and growing and changing in front of people's eyes, and everybody's cool. And it's the only place I've ever worked where 100% everyone is cool. Like everyone. Nobody has these big old egos. Like everybody's just chilling. We all hang out together. There's a camaraderie. It's a family. It's amazing working at AEW.
Yeah. Well, one of the great things too is like we understand and that fact so much, and we're so willing to protect that. Like I know, for instance, one of the things that like Swole's done for me as sort of the locker room leader she is like if I'm out of line, she immediately is like, "No, bitch! Like here's the deal." Right. And that's something that you just appreciate so much working with people, because we talk about trust a lot in wrestling, and it's like it's not just in the ring; it's also out of the ring. And it's just a really, really great place to be. I mean, all Unrestricted is basically the let's talk about how much we love working with each other podcast. So,
yeah, it's really amazing. Like you'll never know what you're going to see in this locker room and like what's going to happen. And it's just like so many things we laugh about. It's like hard to keep track of everything that happens every day. It's so much. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I imagine keeping Aubrey in line would be a full-time job too.
Yeah, keeping everybody in line is a full-time job, you know.
I get you.
Swole's got her hands full.
Yeah, I really do. But I wouldn't want it any other way, you know.
Right. Okay, I want to circle back now here. Who introduced you to pro wrestling as a kid? When did your first memories of it?
Ooh, my my former stepdad. Larry, right. Yeah, he introduced me to wrestling when I was younger. He's like, hey, have you ever seen wrestling before? And here I am, I'm 4 years old. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? And he like puts on like WCW, and I think it was like Glacier, like it was like a Glacier match. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm like, this is great. I get to yell at the TV. I get to like, fight a little bit inside the house and practice my moves on my stepbrother Duran. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. It's just right up my alley, because I was a huge tomboy already at 4. I was like, I don't want no dresses. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to go outside and play. That's it. And I was hooked, like flipping channels back and forth, doing the war. And I was like, oh, this is simply amazing. I was like, I want to do this. Right. I want to do this when I get older. This is great. I was like, I want to see it live. We never got to see it live until I was an adult and could pay for it myself. You know how parents do.
Sure. Well, back then, if you talk about the Monday Night Wars, the best seat really was at home. I mean, that's where things were happening. Yeah, it really was. And it still is with Dynamite. I mean, it really is.
Right. Yeah, we got it.
Cheap
TNT,
blood.
baby.
Absolutely. So you grew up in Florida, and you grew up loving wrestling, and you had some interactions with like Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, and you live in Clearwater, Florida. And when did you decide, damn it, I'm going to do it? What age were you? When did this all happen? When did you not heed Linda Hogan's advice?
Well, I was 22 and grown and thought I could just do whatever I want. And I just got out of the Air Force, and I was working at GameStop, just as like a holiday hire. And I was like, you know what? I really want to wrestle. And I started dating my boyfriend, now husband, Cedric. And I told him, I was like, babe, I want to wrestle. And he literally sat me down. And he was like, okay, if you're going to do this, Ariel, it's like, you need to be a wrestler. He's like, I don't want to hear this whole, you're a women's wrestler, you're a female wrestler. It's like, no, you're a wrestler, and you need to have that heart and that drive. If you're going to do this, there is no quitting for you. Like, you will retire as a wrestler.
Wow.
And I said,
that's great advice.
Yeah. It was amazing. It made me like sit back and really like go through it. I'm like, you know what? No, this is what I'm going to do. He kept me on that straight and narrow pretty much.
So when did you start training then?
It was right after we had our daughter Odessa, because it was a surprise baby. As soon as I wanted to start training, I started training, and then it was like, I don't feel well. Like, well, after that, it was like August 14th in 2014. Because I remember it was like 8 months after we had her, I started training, and I pretty much never looked back. I started training in Charlotte, North Carolina at High Spots under the Mr. Number 1, George South.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he taught me the right way, of everything.
Yeah, you had a good trainer there.
Oh, yeah, the best. Really, I mean, everybody says that their trainer is the best, and don't get me wrong, you may think that, but you are clearly wrong. Because George is who the greats bring their children to.
Right.
Ashley Flair, she went there first.
Sure.
Let's teach her the basics. When Ricky Steamboat needed his child to be, taught, he brought him there. And of course, myself, I was trained there. Cedric was trained there. Tessa was trained there. We're Darius Lockhart. We're pushing out people.
Sure, absolutely. And then not only that, he knows what he's doing. He's a good person too.
Right,
that
right.
Really
And as Ric Flair said, George South, he owes his career to George South.
Right.
All those matches,
absolutely
man.
We're talking with Big Swole, AEW Unrestricted. Let's talk about kind of where we're headed to next. But let's I want to talk a little bit about more that Swole mentality and where that all came from.
One thing I'd like to talk about is State Farm Insurance. And I say I'd like to talk about that because I've been a State Farm customer, a member, if you will, since 1981, since the year that I was married. State Farm has surprisingly great rates on both auto and homeowners.
Tony, you've been a member of State Farm since before I was born.
There you go.
That means that they must have great customer service. They've got agents available everywhere. To be a member of a company for that long, you have to be really, really happy with their policies.
I'm happy with their policies, and now I'm happier, Aubrey, with their easy-to-use technology, because back then, you would have to have the insurance card in your wallet. It was a paper insurance card or like a cardboard insurance card. Now, you have it on your phone. They have a great app, and you have your insurance card right on your smartphone. So the technology that is advanced in the world has also advanced insurance, thanks to our people at State Farm.
So you can manage your coverage, pay your bill, file a claim, all just from your phone. Something you already carry around with you. Who needs cardboard cards anymore? Jeez.
No boy. A great price with even greater service. So Aubrey, as I always say, when you want the real deal,
like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You say that all the time, Tony.
I do.
This is AEW Unrestricted. Tony and Aubrey here with Big Swole.
Yeah.
So you've got this, what you call Swole mentality. Talk about what that is a little bit.
Swole mentality. Everything I do is swole. It's big, it's grand, it's grandioso, it's all that, and then some. That's basically in my faith and my wrestling, everything I put my mind to, I give it 110%. That's what being swole is all about. That's what my name is all about. It's a clear reminder of the mentality is what's going to get me there. Because I always tell myself, motivation is not going to get you there at all. Because some days I'm not motivated. But that's where the discipline comes in. That's where the mentality comes in. That's thinking that someone else is going to be better. And I'm like, I won't allow it. I cannot allow it. I'm heavy into my faith. So I'm like, look, when I get to them pearly gates, I want to be there and be like, look, I did everything I could to be the best. And whatever you gave me, whatever gift you gave me, I use it to my fullest potential. I don't want to have any type of regrets, when I leave this earth. So I'm like, I have to do it big.
I mean, you're a fighter as well, just from I know you've told the stories before of going through Crohn's, I think it was 2008. Yes. Being dead on the table and then basically being told you're never going to be active and you're never going to have kids. So real quick, man. You're already very good at defying everything that people tell you. So.
Oh yeah. As my mom says it, she's like, oh yeah. The devil's been trying to kill you for a very long time. And, I was like, yeah, it all started with, I got struck by lightning. And it was like, well, what do we do next? I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe just stay away from going outside.
So hang on a second. We mentioned you've been struck by lightning?
Yes. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. Sucked.
I bet it did.
It sucked so bad.
When did this all happen? How old were you?
I was 12. 11, 12, I think, no, right before my 12th birthday, I was outside, and, in old school houses, they used to have those metal poles, for the, I think for the gutters and stuff. So
Sure.
I had my hand, because I'm stupid, I had my hand on the gutter, and I had like my rings and stuff like that. You had move rings and all that other stuff. And it's outside, and I love the rain. And literally it came down, it just went like through, and just like, I just shocked the heck out of myself, and then I dropped. And my parents were like, all right, well,
better pick her up.
Because, I've just always had like bad little instances. Like I once got attacked by killer ants. Like my first day in our new house, my stepdad, he already had a house or whatever. And I'm standing outside, and it's my first time being in a lawn, because we've only had apartments.
Right.
And the the red killer ants are just all running up my leg, and I ended up locking myself out. So I'm like banging on the door, and they had to throw me in the tub, and I had marks up and down my legs for weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So I have
Swole will never die.
Right.
Wow.
I won't. I won't.
She'll just
I won't.
hobble away a little slower. But
Yeah. I have so many things have happened. It's crazy. I was even paralyzed once from the neck down.
What the hell, woman?
Yeah, I was paralyzed for a full week. It was horrible. Yeah, I got
What happened?
I was a goalie, and it was my freshman year, and I was a really good goalie. And this one girl, I was ruining her average like a mug because she couldn't score at all. And so she comes up and she kind of checks me, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll let it slide. And then I slide, I get the ball, she slides in and clips my face. So the next time when she comes in for the ball, I jump up, my knee pops her straight up Kenny Omega style, and it just runs straight through her shit. And she drops down on the floor, and then my cleat just stomps her. And I'm like, well, that's what you get. And then she was in the box. So of course that's no penalty to me. And she didn't like that at all. So literally the next play that she had a chance, I got the ball and I saved it. She pushed me into the goalpost. My body wrapped around it, and I flew. And next thing you know, I'm hanging upside down with my cleats stuck at the top of the goalpost.
Jeez.
Now I had enough wherewithal to throw the ball out, so she didn't get the point at all. So she was even more pissed, And it's my first game my mother's ever gone to. So of course that game I would get hurt that much. And I woke up the next day and I couldn't move from the neck down, and they were just the doctor was something. She hit that when that goalpost is just wrapped around, and it did something where it just stiffed up everything. And the lady was like, if you take another hit like that, you'll be paralyzed from the neck down forever. It'd be permanent. So I had to stop playing soccer. I had to give up my love my first year of playing it.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
So now let's see, struck by lightning, paralyzed,
dead,
eaten up by ants, dead from Crohn's. Is anything we missing here?
My sister tried to she accidentally almost drowned me when I was younger. My mom had to tell me this story. She accidentally left me in the tub, and she came in, and I was doing the bubbles, bloop, 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 bloop. And she saved me and scooped me out of the water before I submerged into it. Yeah. And then apparently that same year, my auntie Donna had accidentally left me wandering on the street. So the police had to call my mom. It was like, hey, your daughter's here. And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, your 1-year-old daughter. Luckily I had a bracelet that had my mom's name and her number and stuff on it.
Smart.
Yeah, because my mom's very, very cautious, of course, except for picking my babysitters. But yeah, but yeah. So that just tack that on.
Jeez. So despite living through all of these things, you're still you know what? I want to be a wrestler.
Right.
because you want to take bumps because that seems like a real good idea.
In the brain, you're insane in the brain.
So you have a kid. 8 months later, you start training.
Right.
And then what happens after that? Hopefully you don't die again.
No. I started, well, actually, no, I didn't die again, but I started training, and, I started getting really good, but then my Crohn's pretty much got active. and I kept having to take breaks. I believe the breaks like added up to maybe about 2.5, 3 years.
Damn.
And I've only been wrestling for about 6 years. So I just kept having these dips in my health, and to the point where there was this one time I'll never forget it. When my mom made me take a clean break because I ended up getting pneumonia, and they thought it was pneumonia. And then they had to do like this probe, and then they were like, "Oh, well, we're sorry, but it's a cancer mass in your lung." And I had already had colon cancer before, so I was like, "What else is going to happen to my body?" And they were like, "We don't know what it is. We don't know what it is." So they had to take samples of it. They sent it to the CDC and to the Mayo Clinic. All came back negative. They didn't know what it was at all. And so they were like, "Well, we don't know exactly what it is." So I was in the hospital and it was deteriorating. And they were like, "I'm sorry, but you're slowly dying. We don't know what to do. We can just hold you off for some weeks until we find out what it is." And they just kept sending samples. But luckily, this one doctor, she came to the hospital I was at, and she came to visit me, and she was like, "I work at the other Orlando Health, and I just came here today because she's like, I don't know, it's my off day, and I just needed to come here." And I was like, "I think you're sitting here for me." I was like, "Because I'm dying and I need some help." And she was like, "Okay, we're gonna try these 3 antibiotics," and she's like, spliced them and put them in, and they started to slowly work. They ended up naming the virus, I think, nightmare virus, and I was the first patient 0, and it went all the way up to North Carolina. So I do apologize, everybody, for my bad immune system. But yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah,
you are
so
ridiculous.
That was right before All Out. So when I literally got out of the hospital, I was like, there's something, like, God was like, "You need to get ready." He's like, "Because you're about to have something." And I literally trained and tried to gain muscle and got back to wrestling again and learning how to wrestle again for 6 months straight. And then I finally won the match with against Zoe in Toronto for the Rise Championship, and with Bull Nakano, and then boop, then you guys. Yeah. And it's been like that since then, and I've like been healthy. Like, this is my first full year of being completely healthy.
Wow.
Crazy.
So after all those stories,
AEW is the cure for death.
AEW is the cure.
That's right.
Jesus Christ. Oh my
right.
God.
After all those stories, I don't know if talking about wrestling is going to satisfy us or not here, because it's kind of a letdown. You really are a remarkable story. But I do want to talk about, you did spend time in WWE. You were at the Mae Young Classic.
Yes.
You have worked on Raw.
Yes, I did.
Talk about those experiences.
Okay, when I got the phone call from my friend Devin Nicole, she's like, "I need you in Atlanta." She's like, "You want to come with me to be an extra at WWE?" And I was like, "Yeah, there's a bear shit in the woods, bro. I'm coming." So we get there, and I'm the smallest one out of both of us. So they're like, "Well, I guess you're going to be, wrestling Nia Jax." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And you know how I am, and how, the reports of how backstage WWE is. And that's before even Cedric got there. So, of course, Imagine me. I'm myself 24/7. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I'm not walking on eggshells for nobody, because I'm not scared of nobody but the Lord and my mama. And I didn't see Mary Ann Langhorne there at all. So, therefore, I was just being me. So I'm the whole entire day, I'm just clowning with people, people that I know and stuff like that. I see Brock Lesnar, and every time he walks past, all the extras, "Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir," like acting like they got like wedgies. They're just acting all stuck up and stuff. And I'm like, he's just a regular person. Like, stop bothering this man. So the last person bothers him, and they're like, "Thank you so much." Da, 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 da. I walked up to him and I was like, "Hey, Brock, right?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I just want to let you know that I could whoop your ass."
No, fuck.
And the fact that I had the balls to say that, because I was like, I'm going to make him laugh, because obviously he was so pissed off with everybody just stopping him 24/7. And he's like, "That's funny." He's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Oh, I'm Ariel. I'm Ariel." He's like, "Oh, okay. I remember that. You can whoop my ass." Like, "Yeah, I can whoop your ass." And he's like, Okay. And he walks off. And then I have my match, and before I have my match, Seth comes up to me. He's like, hey, just so you know, you can't see nothing out there. When you get out there, you won't be able to focus on nothing but the person. You can't see anybody. They can only see you. It's just that dark out there. Bro was lying out his ass. I went out there and I saw everybody. I was like, I felt like Denzel. I was like, okay, all right, okay, Seth, all right, okay, Lopez, all right. I'm putting cases on all y'all when I get back up in this gorilla. Because I was like, how dare you do this to me? But I went out there, had a good match, wasn't expecting the slap in the initial part. So I gave her a receipt that was not called because I didn't appreciate nobody hitting me like that on national TV. You're not finna punk Big Swole. That's what you're not finna do. So I kicked her right in her face right before she's supposed to do her stuff. And I was like, hey, man, that was a receipt. She's like, I understand. Boom. Went on with the match. And and afterwards, it was just great. Everything was cool. The second day, this is like Cedric done had his match with like Ibushi already. So Trips comes up to me and he's like, thank you so much for doing the business yesterday. And I was like, oh, thank you for what you're doing with my family. You know, he's like, oh, yeah, you're Cedric's fiance. And I was like, yes. And he begins to mark out and tell the whole story about what happened because I told him I wasn't there. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, would you look at this? Triple H. Now, I remember seeing you on TV until everybody suck it. And here you are. Marking out for my man's match. Ain't life grand? You know, I'm listening, but I'm just like, this is crazy. I'm marking out within the mark out. Right. And it's just like, it was a good environment. I had fun and they ribbed me and they told me that I was supposed to be the security to make sure that Brock wasn't supposed to be there because it was SmackDown because it was the next day. So of course I'm like in my heels and stuff. And I'm like, you know, I'm bowing up, you know, because I'm trying to do my job. I see Brock come up. And he's like, oh, you again? You the one that said you was gonna whoop my ass? And I was like, yeah. he goes. So you supposed to be security? They said you the one that's supposed to stop me from getting here and getting. I think he's supposed to beat up Randy that day. And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, you ain't seen me. And I ain't see you, bro. And I like, and I was like, I'm gone. I was like, because I don't want no problems, you know? Like, I was like, I'm just talking. I'm just, you know, my Twitter fingers happened to come out. I was like, my bad. But it was a good time. That was a good time with Nia Jax. And like, the Mae Young Classic, that was great too. It was it's fantastic.
Had a celebration with Cedric and your daughter on TV after the win. And
I got the dance with Candace, you know. Do a little shuffle. She said she don't dance, but I feel like she did all right. I mean, I didn't bust out all the moves because I knew she couldn't really dance. So, you know, I kept it PG just for Candace. But it was great. It was great seeing her.
After that, did you, was there ever a bigger opportunity in the WWE for you?
No.
That, do you think?
After the Mae Young Classic, that was basically it. I honestly thought that there was going to be something else after that. But they just never kind of pulled the plug, honestly, until you guys came calling.
There you go.
They lost.
And
right. Yeah.
And we want to talk about us guys calling and a whole lot more with Big Swole. Stay with us.
This is AEW Unrestricted. Aubrey and Tony here with Big Swole. So we were just talking about Mae Young Classic, WWE, marking out in the mark out moment with Trips. So Mae Young Classic was actually the second time that Swole and I got to share a locker room together. The first time, and I said I was going to tell the story. So the first time, I think it was down in LA. It was like AWS, like the day after a Rise show. And I'm standing in the locker room. I know like a handful of people. And then you just bust through this door rocking this green emerald mohawk, looking like you own the fucking place. And everyone just like gasped. And I don't understand really what's happening. And everyone's just like, why are you here? And I put it together that you had literally gotten married the day before in Florida and then flew to Los Angeles.
I did, you know, all for the craft.
Why?
Well, you know, it was hard. It's hard enough, you know, I've spoken this before with representation in indies. It's hard enough with Black women getting bookings as is. So I had to keep this booking. You know, so I was like, I got to go to it. And after my plane was delayed. So many other times I missed my layover, had to get a new one. And I think it was like maybe a solid 10 hours of flying and traveling. I finally, as you say, barged through the door, and everyone's like, "What? Why? Why?" I was like, "Because I have to be here. That's why."
Showing off the ring, talking about the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. It was such a good wedding. I hate that I had to, scram out of there. And, I still get flack to this day. And he's like, "Oh, well, remember when you left the day after?" And I was like,
it's not like you guys could go on a honeymoon. Like, he was champion at the time.
Like who had to go to Japan after that? Okay. Who had to go to Amsterdam and Paris and stuff, I don't want to hear.
You talked about training with George South and Cedric. Did you meet Cedric training? Is that how you guys met?
No, actually, we had a mutual friend, Robin. He had a show in Concord, North Carolina, and we were living in Goldsboro. And he's like, "Hey, Ariel, can you please just take me to my thing? I'll give you gas money." I'm like, "Sure." Now, at the time, I drove an Acura, and it was like a straight 6. So, and he didn't drive stick shift. And he didn't tell me that was 3.5 hours away. So here I am driving 3.5 hours looking bummy as all get out. And I had a Marvin and Martian hat on. I had like baggy jeans, everything. And I saw, I heard this high pitched voice, and I saw this black chocolate man walking by. And I said, wait a minute. I'm looking at all the other wrestlers. I'm like, oh, nobody looks good to me. But that guy, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, "Robin, come here. Why didn't you tell me that there was fine men here?" I thought they were all going to look like him, small, scrawny, whatever. And I saw him there, and I stole his number out of Robin's phone after I introduced myself, and I punched him straight in the shoulder because, I have these tactics and I do things for science all the time. So I was like, "Oh, maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't." So I was like, maybe I'll try this third grade. Let me punch you, see if he likes it type stuff. Let me see where his mind is, And sure enough, he was hooked off of something so silly. Wow. But that's what happens when you got the sauce. Yeah, ever since then, we've been kind of inseparable.
I do this for science all the time. Tremendous line.
It's sometimes it works. You never know. It's about the confidence.
Yeah. Hey, I talked about you and and Britt and how entertaining that has been. You have been in some of the segments of Being the Elite with the public Swole announcement.
Swole announcement.
Are there going to be any more of those? I mean, do you come up with those? Or are they?
Yeah, I do. I come up with them, and I'm like, oh, what do I want to talk about today? What do I want to talk about this? And because of all of the events, my mind has just been so exhausted. My brain's just been so focused on the fight. But I've been writing some new ones. I have this one that I want to do with Kenny about perms and picking out hair and stuff, since he's not good at doing that.
He's not.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, I wanted to do one. I want to do one with Sammy. And since both of us almost got ran over. I almost got ran over by a golf cart. So I want to do one of pedestrian safety monitors. So, because I feel like it needs to be said, because you never know in these streets of AEW. It's it's a kill or be killed out here.
Right.
Especially with those gators. You never know who's behind the wheel.
Exactly. You mentioned Kenny Omega. Was he the first one to approach you about AEW? I mean, you had the contract signing, right?
I did. I did have the contract offer. Right. No, it was Brandi. Brandi is the one who brought me in, basically. Okay. Because, when it comes to representation, for some reason, there's everybody named Mama just thinks that I'm just like the person, be like, "Oh, yeah, go talk to Swole about that. Go talk to Swole about representation and pretty much everything else." So I'm glad she reached out to me and she brought me in for All Out and kind of talked to me about contracts and everything like that. And it wasn't until after my match with Sheeta in Charlotte that Kenny came up to me and offered me that contract backstage, which was amazing because it was in front of all my friends and in front of Hangman, which Hangman and I've known Hangman for about 9 years now, and from when he first started wrestling. So it was just so serendipitous that it was in front of him as well. So that's why when you see me just hug him and we're just having this moment, it's because we basically came up together.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a great story. And there's so many great stories going on in AEW, and I'm talking about on camera and behind the camera. Now, you and Aubrey were talking about the women's locker room, and how is it in the women's locker room? I mean, is it as cool as the announcers' locker room,
trying to get
the men's locker room?
Sneak peek, man.
Yeah, give me a peek of
out
that.
here trying to get the tea.
I'll throw in at him. I'll throw in at him just to like satisfy. There was a group of us that all sang the male song from Blue's Clues at this last taping.
True.
And we nailed it.
We did.
That's great.
We killed it. We killed it. We kill every song that we basically sing in the locker room.
Yes.
But it's amazing. The vibe there is like no other. It's really amazing. Everybody likes everybody. Everybody talks. Everybody's chill. Everybody's laughing and joking and stuff. It's amazing. There's no arguments. There's no ooh girl, because we talk shit to people's faces. If I got something to say, I'm gonna say it, and you can listen and do whatever you want to, but I need to get it off my chest. But yeah, it's great. Plus, I don't play that. So I don't play that whole dissension stuff. Look, you got problems, you better handle it, because I'm not all about that drama. Because you want to come up in here with drama, then that means I got to be somebody's mama. That means I got to get the belt. That means I got to get a pop going on up in here. And don't nobody want that.
No, you don't want scary
bring out the mom
moms,
eyes and a mom speech. It just, sometimes it's too much for people. Right. That's why sometimes I come off as scary. It's a reverent fear. So I'll take it.
You mentioned mommy, and that made me think that you being a mommy, a real life mommy, did you have to do homeschooling this year?
I did. I already had respect for teachers.
Right.
Because I already knew I can't do it. See, everybody, you got to know your limits. You got to know your blessings and your gifts. And I know my gift is not to have to be a teacher of little children. Not unless it's like art or something. But yes, I had to do it, and it was taxing. I was like, why do you have all these assignments for this baby? Now, mind you, she's in like gifted classes and stuff like that. And this is like, they say you get like 10 times or 2 times worse or whatever, than when you were a kid. And I was in gifted classes and AP classes. So it was like, don't act like you're slow, girl. Come on. I know you know the answer. And she's like, 6? And I'm like, are you asking me or are you telling me? I swear I said that like millions of times doing this homeschool stuff. It's been like huge headache, but
yeah,
everything we're grateful. I would rather keep her at home, than have her go into an actual school.
So you've got the homeschooling stuff happening this year. You've got your travel schedule. You've got Cedric's travel schedule.
Yes.
You're clearly, focused diet and exercise. Like, how do you handle all of this? Because I'm not a mom and I can barely get my shit together. So
honestly, just lots of prayer. Like I say, I wear a lot of different hats. My biggest thing is that I cannot stress, because stress is like the main factor for my Crohn's disease. So I think about it like, okay, if I feel too stressed, like I'll just go and relax, or I'll go and have my little mom, me time, because I am mom, I am Big Swole, I am a wife. I'm trying to keep my health together, my diet and exercise, and it's a lot to do at one time. And then of course we just moved into our new house, so it's been a lot. It's been taxing. It's just having that support system, being able to finally tell my mom like, hey, can you take AJ for a day or two, because I just need a breather, while Cedric's gone, and I can just breathe in the house and just chill. So yeah. Plus, coming to work also always helps too. Relieve stress.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I look forward to it every single time we come to work.
Yeah. Isn't it something that a lot of people, they go, oh, I got to go to work. But for us, it's, man, I'm going to work.
Right. It brings me so much joy.
Right.
Like, there's always been a big difference for me between happiness and joy. And like certain things can make you happy, certain foods can make you happy. Well, when you have pure joy, that's something that no one can take from you. That's something that can light up your whole life. And you can also like be so radiant that it just bounces off of you and goes to someone else. Joy can just spread like that, and that's what AEW does for me. It just brings me so much joy to see everybody thriving and being creative and being heard. And it's an amazing atmosphere.
It really is.
I love coming to work on Wednesdays.
So do we. And you guys in the women's division work closely with Dustin, I know, in the ring. How's he helped you out your career?
Oh man, I love Dustin. See, man, look, when Cedric and Dustin were tagging, he always come home and just brag about how awesome Dustin is, and I was just so professionally jealous. Like, I'm already jealous because he's like agile as hell. And so when I finally got to started working with him, I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. He's so knowledgeable and so nice, and then he also like kicks it with us, and he can make fun of somebody, and it's amazing. He's a good guy. He's like uncle and dad, but and also older brother and veteran, all in wrapped in one. He's amazing, and he can twerk. Yeah, true that.
He can do just about anything. Actually,
yeah, he can.
Yeah, if you consider Dustin your dad, you would have to consider somebody like Dean Malenko your granddaddy.
Oh heck yeah! Now I love Dean. Dean's that dude. Okay, Dean is that guy, man. Like, I always come to him after my matches. I come to him before my matches. I just like to pick his brain. I don't care what anybody else is doing. I'm just like, you understand who we have here? We have the last of the trio. You have all that knowledge blended into one, and you don't want to talk to the man, given that he always has a scowl on his face. That scowl is a smile to me, and I'm always give me my hug, brother, man, because I love you, Bubba. Let me use your calf kick. Love him. He is.
And you're right. He has so much knowledge, doesn't he? I mean, and I think it would behoove any wrestler, male or female, to listen to what he has to say about finishes, about the psychology of the business.
Oh yeah, amazing.
And he just really is a great guy. He really, really is. I really think, and I've often thought this, Swole, because I know you and I really get along, that you're just a ray of sunshine in the backstage area. You really are, and you make me smile every time I see you. And now that I know you're the leader in the women's locker room, that you can put knuckleheads like Aubrey Edwards in their place, I even like you even more. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you agree with us. And I know. Listen, we're AEW Unrestricted. I get that. We wouldn't say anything to disparage the company, but when we put over the company, when we put over the people we work with, from Tony Khan, Kenny Omega, Dean Malenko, Dustin, all the ladies in the back, and makeup and hair, everybody just seems to get along. And where I came from, that was unheard of, right? Mm-hmm. And I just think for all of us, I think we're very fortunate to be a part of this.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. A whole bunch of people just want to, be where we are, and I feel so fortunate and so blessed, to be a part of something so special.
So, what does the future hold for Big Swole?
Listen. Okay, so sorry, I got get my George South voice in. Okay, listen, fruits. Okay, I'm a strategist, Tony. Everything I do is I have a strategy along with it. Strategist and a purist all in one. So I like to do things just because I've thought about it a lot.
Sure.
I figure I am going to let anybody and everybody who wants a chance at that title to go ahead, grab it. Honey, enjoy your time with it. Cuddle up to it. Hold it tight. Tell her I love you. You're my sweetheart. I only have eyes for you. Because, baby, why you doing all that? While everybody's having their runs, they titles, saying they the women's part of the best in the division. This is their division. You see, queens don't speak out loud like that. I don't do stuff like that. I let my actions speak for me. I don't have to boast about I'm this and that. That's what they're going to do. I am just going to work. I'm going to work my ass off until I am in peak physical condition, until I am peak wrestling prime. And then when it is time for me and whoever the chump is that has the championship, when it's time for me to go up against that person, whether it's Sheeta, Penelope, Brittany, I don't care, all them Anise, it don't really matter, because when I get up in that ring and it is time for Swole to shine, baby, That championship is coming home with me, and I'm not letting it go. You see, because once I get it, I'm going to take it and that bar, and I'm going to raise it all the way up. Boom. And then I'm going to walk away. And I'm going to be like, it's catch up and keep up. Catch up and keep up. You see, because my promos are going to be on point. My matches are going to be on point. My backstage segments are going to be on point. It's going to be a whole nother level. So go ahead and get all of these people who think that they pop in and think that they it. You go ahead, take it, boo. You go ahead, because what's next for Swole is betterment, is discipline, is champion, is a legacy. That's what's next for Swole.
Don't doubt this girl.
Damn.
Never.
Don't doubt her at all.
Never did. Never will.
Absolutely.
Jeez.
Swole,
Wise.
thank you so much. It was great talking to you, catching up with you.
Oh, it was excellent. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
So wonderful to have you.
Yeah, this is great. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. I love how every time I see you, you go, Swole. So wholesome.
Yeah.
And I love your room. We're going to talk about this
thanks.
next time I see you and all this.
Yeah.
Oh, his man cave?
Oh yeah, that man cave's
And
it,
my
honey.
little puppy dog right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. It's the bug.
Bug.
Yeah. Hello, Bug.
He hangs out with me. Okay, you can follow Big Swole on Twitter at Swole World. Correct? I have that right?
Yes.
On Instagram at that Big Swole.
Duh.
At the Big Swole.
Duh. We're gonna work on your African American your African American slang. We're gonna work on it.
Okay. Subscribe to the AEW Unrestricted podcast for free wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating. We'd love to hear from you, your review, and we've had some great reviews so far.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. You can tune into All Elite Wrestling on TNT Wednesdays, Dynamite, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. I'm referee Aubrey Edwards. We've got commentary Tony Schiavone and awesome badass Big Swole. Thanks for tuning in.